This is TechCrunch.
The Trump administration's EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin, is looking to repeal the 2009 endangerment finding that found greenhouse gases pose a threat to human health and welfare possibly as early as this week. That's according to a Wall Street Journal report. The EPA finding had set the legal basis for federal regulation of 6 greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and methane, and it has been unsuccessfully challenged since it was first instituted. The move is almost certain to attract a number of lawsuits, and it could be years before the matter is settled. The EPA's move will only affect tailpipe emissions for cars and trucks, though it's expected that the Trump administration will use it to unwind regulations in other sectors like power plants and industrial facilities. Legacy automakers, which pushed Trump to weaken fuel efficiency rules, notably did not push for the EPA to repeal the endangerment finding. Tesla went further, asking the EPA to maintain the finding, saying it was based on a robust factual and scientific record. If the Trump administration is successful, the U.S. will be increasingly out of step with regulations in other advanced economies. Companies that do business across borders will need to develop different approaches for each market, increasing costs. Automakers, in particular, are facing a future in which they'll be forced to serve bifurcated markets, at least in the near term. Regulatory whiplash in the U.S., coupled with increasing competition from China, has cost automakers tens of billions of dollars. American automakers' reliance on fossil fuel-powered trucks, in particular, has painted the domestic industry into a corner, providing addictive profits that distract from future-proofing their fleets in advance of seemingly inevitable competition from Chinese marquees. The Trump administration told the WSJ it expects the policy change to save more than $1 trillion, though it didn't provide any evidence to back that figure up. Climate change is expected to cost far more. The Congressional Budget Office found that nearly $1 trillion worth of real estate is threatened by rising sea levels, and mortality rates in the U.S. could be 2% higher if global warming isn't abated. Another study, published in 2024, found that climate change could trim global GDP by 17% by 2050, the equivalent of $38 trillion per year. Swedish music streaming giant Spotify saw its user numbers peak last quarter, driven by its year-end Wrapped campaign, which rounds up stats and listening highlights for users, and new features on its free tier. The company said it saw a record 38 million new users in the fourth quarter, taking its total to 751 million monthly active users, up 11% from a year earlier. Paying subscribers increased by 10% to 290 million in the quarter. Spotify said the Wrapped campaign resulted in more than 300 million engaged users and 630 million shares on social media in 56 languages. Revenue came in at 4.5 billion euros, which is equivalent to more than $5 billion, about 7% more than a year earlier, thanks to an 8% increase in subscription revenue. However, the company's ad-supported business saw revenue dip by 4% to 518 million euros. Gross margin, an important metric investors watch for indications of improvements to Spotify's profitability, improved by 83 basis points to a record high of 33% as the company sold more ads for podcasts and music. The solid performance comes as Spotify's new co-CEOs Gustav Söderström and Alex Norström take over the reins from co-founder Daniel Ek, and they will now oversee a business that has far outgrown what it initially set out to do. After launching as a music streaming pure play, Spotify has expanded its remit to include podcasts, audiobooks, and even physical bookstores. It's launched music videos within the app as well as video podcasts, and has doubled down on its retention strategy by adding social features like group chats and letting users share what they're listening to. You can even use Spotify to book tickets to concerts or explore the story behind songs. The company has also added AI features like an AI DJ, AI-generated playlists, and now lets users exclude tracks from being recommended to help them better tailor what they listen to. That's it from TechCrunch. For more stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.